I want to share something with you that's happening all around us, yet rarely gets talked about. Some of the most radiant, accomplished women I know, women in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, are choosing to remain single. Yep. Now, before you assume this is about being bitter or giving up on love, let me tell you what's really happening. The truth might surprise you, and it definitely challenges what we've been told about what women should want. You see, when a woman over 40 chooses to stay single, she's not settling for less. She's stepping into something far more powerful than what most people realize. And if you've ever felt pressure to couple up or wonder if there's something wrong with enjoying your own company, this conversation might give you permission to trust what your heart already knows. Who is this woman? So who exactly is this woman that we're talking about? She's likely someone who has lived through significant life experiences. She's been the ultimate caretaker, perhaps raising children, caring for her aging parents, or pouring herself into her career. She's loved deeply, maybe too deeply at times, losing herself in the process. She's the woman who spent decades adapting herself to whatever others required, thinking that's what good women do, right? But somewhere in her 40s, she began asking herself uncomfortable but necessary questions. Who am I when I'm not taking care of everyone else? What actually do I want for my life, for myself? So if you're over 40 and asking these same questions, my sister, you're in good company. You've earned the right to ask them, and you've definitely earned the right to honor whatever answers come up. There's a persistent myth in our culture that a woman without a partner is somehow incomplete, that we're all just waiting to be chosen to feel whole, right? But this belief is just wrong. It's actually holding us back from something beautiful. The women choosing to remain single have discovered something profound. There's incredible peace in not needing someone else's validation to feel worthy. They've learned to distinguish between loneliness and solitude. And they understand that healthy relationships come from two whole people choosing each other and not from two halves trying to complete themselves. Look, these women aren't giving up on love. They're creating space for a much healthier kind of love, one that adds to their already full life rather than trying to fill an empty space inside of them. They've learned that loving someone shouldn't require erasing themselves. What happens to a woman over 40 who chooses herself first is nothing short of a quiet revolution. She's not the same woman who once bent herself into impossible shapes, trying to be what others needed. You see, this transformation often looks like loss from the outside or from what other people may perceive. People worry that when she starts pursuing her own interests, traveling solo, or simply enjoying her own company, that there's something wrong with that, or that something is wrong with her. But what they can't see is that she's not breaking down. She's breaking through. She's breaking through decades of conditioning that told her that her worth came from how much she could give away of herself. If you're in this place right now, if you're questioning what you've been told about what you should want, what feels like selfishness to others is actually the most profound act of self-love. The woman who chooses to remain single isn't rejecting love. She's rejecting the counterfeit versions that ask her to be less than who she's becoming. Because solitude, when chosen consciously, isn't emptiness. It's a sanctuary where she can finally hear her own voice above all the noise of what everyone else thinks she should do. This awakening rarely happens in one dramatic moment. It usually comes in quiet realizations, like the moment you realize you've been holding your breath in relationships, trying to be the easy woman who doesn't ask for too much. It's the recognition that you've been so busy being what others needed that you've forgotten what you need. This woman didn't stop believing in love. She just stopped accepting substitutes for it. She's learned that real love doesn't ask you to be smaller or quieter or more convenient. So when people call her picky or too selective, she just smiles. Because what they call picky, she calls having learned her worth. What they call too selective, she calls having standards that took decades of experience to develop. Listen, if you're over 40, you've earned those standards through every heartbreak, every compromise that left you feeling diminished, and every time you chose someone else's comfort over your own truth. I know what I'm talking about, y'all. What's fascinating is how this woman's relationship with herself completely transforms. She starts enjoying her own company in ways that surprise her. Those Saturday mornings that used to feel lonely now feels like gifts. The quiet evenings at home aren't something to fill with distractions. They're opportunities to reconnect with who she's becoming. This doesn't mean she never feels lonely. Let's just be honest. Loneliness is a part of the human experience, whether you're partnered or not. But what she's learned is that being with the wrong person can be far lonelier than being by herself. She's developed what I call comfortable boundaries. She's not building walls to keep people out. She's creating healthy space to keep herself in. When someone approaches her now, she doesn't immediately shape shift to become what they want. She is and sees if there's genuine compatibility. And if that compatibility isn't there, she doesn't take it personally anymore. She understands that not every connection is meant to become a relationship, and that's perfectly okay. You see, when a woman chooses herself first, it gives other women permission to do the same. When you stop apologizing for your standards, other women notice. When you stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable, you show them it's possible to take up space. Our culture has become so afraid of women who don't need rescuing that it's convinced us that we should be afraid too. But what if the thing we're afraid of is actually just being alone, being independent, being whole in our own is actually the very thing that will set us free? This woman isn't rejecting love. She's rejecting the counterfeit versions that ask her to be less than who she is. She's not afraid of intimacy. She's insisting on authentic intimacy rather than the performance many people mistake for connection. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more comfortable she becomes with being alone, the more magnetic she becomes. The more magnetic she becomes. Not because she's playing games, but because there's something incredibly attractive about someone who knows their own worth. Listen, this isn't about giving up on love or connection. This woman absolutely believes in love. She's just learned what real love actually looks like. You see, when I remarried, it was from a completely different place than my younger self would have approached it. I wasn't looking for someone to complete me or to fix the lonely places inside of me. I was looking for someone to share the fullness I'd already discovered. You see, when love does come to the woman who was over 40, it's different. It's not desperate or needy. It's about two whole people choosing to build something together. She doesn't lose herself in this love because she's learned that her relationship with herself is the foundation. Everything else is just built on top of that. But until that love arrives, or even if it never does in the traditional sense, she's not waiting around feeling incomplete. She's living her life fully. She's loving her life and trusting that whatever is meant for her will find its way when she's ready. This choice often comes with criticism. She hears it all, honey. She hears it all. Oh, you're too picky. Oh, you're not getting any younger. Girl, you're getting old. Maybe you should lower your standards. These comments say far more about the people making them than they do about her choices. Let the truth be told. When someone lives authentically, it can feel threatening to those who settle for less. But you see, the woman over 40 has learned that other people's opinions about her life are none of her business. She doesn't need to defend her choices or justify why she won't settle. Her peace speaks for itself. So, if you're over 40 facing this kind of criticism, remember that you don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. You've earned the right to live on your terms. What this woman is offering the world is an invitation, a quiet, powerful invitation to reconsider what we've been taught about women and about women's worth and about what makes life meaningful. She's suggesting that maybe a woman's value doesn't have to come from her relationship status. Maybe her worth isn't determined by whether someone has chosen her. Yeah. Maybe her completeness doesn't depend on finding her other half. She's living proof that there are many ways to have a meaningful, joyful life. Love comes in many forms. Love for yourself, love for your work, love for your friends, love for your family, love for your community. Love for the life you're creating with your own hands. If this resonates with you, if something in your heart recognizes this truth, then maybe it's time to give yourself permission to explore what choosing yourself might look like. When a woman over 40 chooses herself first, she's not just changing her own life. She's quietly revolutionizing what it means to be a woman in our now world. She's showing us that you don't have to live according to other people's timelines or their expectations. That we don't have to apologize for knowing what we want or for refusing to accept less than what we deserve. When you stop abandoning yourself for others, when you stop making yourself smaller to fit into spaces that weren't designed for you, for your full self, everything changes. Your energy changes, your confidence changes, the way you move through the world changes. This woman has learned something very profound. You can't love someone well if you don't love yourself first. You can't build healthy relationships from an empty cup. So when she chooses herself, she's not being selfish, she's being wise. And by the way, I'm Gwendolyn Gigi Jones, and I help women over 40 reclaim their peace, power, and presence. The woman who chooses to remain single over 40 isn't making a statement against love. She's making a statement for authentic love, including the most important love of all, which is the love that she has for herself. So whether you're currently in a relationship, looking for one, or choosing to remain single, the invitation is the same. To develop such a beautiful relationship with yourself that you never again accept less than what honors who you are. If you're over 40, what would change in your life if you made your relationship with yourself the most important one you have? What dreams have you put on hold, waiting for the right circumstances or the right person? Listen, if this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share one thing you're going to do this week to choose yourself first. And remember, you've earned the right to be exactly who you are, to want what you want, and to create a life that feels true to you. You're not too late, too old, or too set in your ways. You are exactly where you need to be to begin honoring the wisdom you've gained through all your experiences. I've created a self-care checklist with affirmations to support you on this journey, daily reminders that your needs matter, and simple ways to honor yourself. You can download it in the description below. And if you found value in this message, please give it a thumbs up and share it with women who might need to hear this message as well. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And if you like this video, be sure to check out this video. Remember, be gentle with yourself and trust the wisdom that's grown within you. Until next time, sis.